Give me first and foremost, we were just talking about Ohio State. What's your reaction to Ohio State being 3 in the final college football playoff?
Well, I think Ohio State took advantage of the controversy and the media narrative between Notre Dame and A&M, and they just slipped right through. And I think they also slipped right through, Fitz, because we all know this committee did not want to see a third matchup between Notre Dame and Clemson. So they really lucked out. For all the controversy over whether they should or shouldn't be in, it really didn't look like it was very close. So they sneak in. They're in a good spot. I have no problem with it.
So, Paul, just to be clear, you had no problem with the fact that they played fewer games than a team like Texas A&M or anyone else, and them being involved in this conversation?
No, because that's what we get. I mean, this whole year is turned upside down, Mike, and I just think they played the schedule they were given. I mean, if it had been up to Ryan Day, they would have started playing on Labor Day weekend. I mean, they can't help it. They're in a dysfunctional league right now. That they can't seem to get anything right. And what I mean by that is what you just got through saying. For all the science and all the medical comments that we heard from the Big Ten commissioner and other people in that league on August 11th when they shut down, it seems like none of that matters anymore, does it? So I'm not going to fault Ryan Day and his football team. They went out, they played every game, they won every game, they won the conference championship game, and quite frankly, I don't have a problem with it at all.
Paul, I'm curious what you think about where the committee is putting Big 12 teams with 2 losses. Right now, Oklahoma obviously at number 6 with 2 losses. Iowa State had been in the top 10 in the last few weeks with 2 losses. How do you feel about how the committee is viewing the Big 12 conference?
Well, they're certainly giving it a lot of weight, which I'm not sure I would. But I never can quite understand when we get to this point. The differentiation. And, I'm with a lot of people on Cincinnati. I don't know what Cincinnati has done to the committee, why they continue to get disrespected every single time we get a ranking, but that just comes with the territory right now. I'm sure it didn't help this week, and I know this is not supposed to be part of it, but when Mike Oresco, the AAC commissioner, went out and unloaded on the CFP committee, essentially saying we would be better off going back to the BCS, that stung. I don't know if that was retribution or not, but I'm betting it had something to do with it.
Paul, obviously all eyes were focused on the 4 spot today, Notre Dame getting in over Texas A&M. How did you grade that one? Did you feel like the Aggies got shorted here at all?
I don't, and I know a lot of people would think, man, you work in the SEC country, you would be waving that flag. But Mike, I think if you're going to look at the resume, they did not have the resume. They may have looked like a better team yesterday, but how can you really tell? They were playing the University of Tennessee. That's a 3-7 team where nothing short of turmoil is currently permeating the air on Old Rocky Top. While Notre Dame, they got rolled. They looked terrible. I would have liked to have seen Notre Dame, put up a fight, but their quote-unquote resume is better. Now, I do think it's somewhat comical to listen to Gary Barta talk about maybe the difference of the year in college football was winning on a Friday afternoon at North Carolina. I'm not sitting here dismissing and disrespecting Mack Brown's program. They're good, but they also have a couple of losses, 1 or 2 that are one in particular against Florida State that's just unexplainable and inexplicable. So if that's going to be the difference maker, great. Now A&M was not given any favors by having the final game of the year in Knoxville. It would have been nice if the SEC had done what everybody else did and just make it up as they go along and maybe match them up against Georgia yesterday to give them a more quality win. But to the SEC's credit, they played the schedule that came out at the beginning of the season.
Paul, a bunch of us on radio over the last week have been saying that college football has a massive problem because it's so predictable who gets into the playoff. I've said it. But last night I went into the rankings and ratings and started looking at it. The TV numbers are great. It seems like the interest is big on the sport. Are we making much ado about nothing? Is there really a problem?
No, because, Fitz, what are we supposed to do? Kick Alabama and Clemson to the curb? I mean, they're the best 2 teams in college football, and they have been since the inception of this process. Ohio State has been there pretty much every year. It's not like, because they played a 6-game schedule that they came out of nowhere. And Notre Dame has been there quite a few times. I understand the noise. I'm part of it. You guys are part of it. It's disseminated on our program every afternoon. It's more about the little guys than it is the big guys. And the only way to change it, and I heard it a minute ago, is to expand the playoff. But if you expand the playoff, I mean, we barely got 4 this year, okay? I mean, I wouldn't have been all that unhappy if the committee had come out today and said, you know what, we're taking another look at this thing, and sorry about the semifinals. We're just having Alabama and Clemson because, quite frankly, those are the 2 best teams in the country. We know that. But you know, if you add a couple of more, then the conference champions all get in. Cincinnati gets in, and the hinterlands are happy. But I'm not sure that's really the best way.
Paul, who was your Final Four, Ben?
The same 4 that they were picked. I mean, I said a couple hours ago, this is what I think should happen, and I, as much as I would love to bash this committee, and listen, I don't like them any more than you guys do. I mean, I think they come off haughty and pretentious when the spokesperson comes out every week. They're not transparent. I want to know what happened in that committee. I want to know everybody's vote. They won't tell us that. But I find myself every year at about this time agreeing with them, and that makes me sick.
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.